All right. Well, as everybody is typing in the chat, and I'm not sure that I have mine muted correctly, but I am Sharon Welker, Dean of the Math, Science, and Engineering Division, and I welcome you all to our first virtual research symposium. Wake Tech is proud of our students and our faculty mentors for doing the creative work required by the pandemic. We switched from in-person research to primarily virtual research, and we did it well. So START interns, your accomplishments are so amazing. We appreciate your work for our STEM academic research and training program. In fact, your work is noteworthy. Wake Tech has honored our program with the Innovation of the Year Award. So congratulations to all of us for that recognition. And we will be recognized nationally because Wake Tech will submit our program for recognition to the League for Innovation in the Community College. So today we're excited to have our student researchers with us live to present and engage in question and answers after about their projects. We also value and appreciate the students who have sent us their pre-recorded presentations. So our breakout sessions are going to be lively and informative. The Moorhead Planetarium is a wonderful collaborative partner. We are participating as part of the NC Science Festival and also with Futures, featuring underrepresented talent in urban and rural engagement with science. So we're looking forward to those stories and presentations today. We are certainly appreciative of Bank of America and the Chrisman Company, and to our other Wake Tech Foundation donors who support this program with funds that allow us to purchase the research supplies and also this year to have stipends for our student interns. So the heart of it is our student interns and our faculty mentors. But we also benefit and need the work of our wonderful director, Dr. Jackie Swanek. We have a steering committee, a leadership team, the interest and support of executive leaders, and our board of trustees, which is wonderful. And for the students, I know the most important supporters are your family and friends. So thank you all for dedicating time and effort to encourage the students to stick with their goals, to do well at Wake Tech, and to be prepared for their STEM transfer and career success. So now Dr. Scott Nunes will be introducing our speaker. Dr. Nunes is one of our original and ongoing START mentors, and we're delighted to have Kaitlin Frey with us, a Wake Tech and START alumnus. So Dr. Nunes.
So one of the things that I love about research is that I get to hang out with really cool, intelligent people like Kaitlin Frey. Kaitlin came to Wake Tech to pick up some science classes after earning an interpersonal communications degree from UNC. I had the privilege of being her instructor in the spring of 2016, and I took the opportunity to try to recruit her to my research group. She was a little bit tentative about it, and she said she'd think about a bike tour through Europe that summer. So when she got back the next fall, she thought, I think I have time to do a project, given that, all I have to do is take some other courses, maintain a job as an EMT, maintain another job as an academic assessment consultant, and do minor things like serve as the medical liaison for home building missions to Honduras. And she did find time. In fact, I couldn't get her out of the lab. Her diligence and hard work paid off. She presented at the North Carolina Academy of Sciences and won the Dario Award for undergraduate research. She moved on from Wake Tech and is currently working on 2 graduate degrees from Eastern Carolina University. So at the risk of understatement, Kaitlin has multitasking and time management skills to go along with her intelligence and wicked wit. But she also has an underrated characteristic that I think is critical to science, and that's courage. She's not afraid to go off the beaten path. She's not afraid to attempt something, even if there's a risk of failure. And this is how new and exciting things are discovered. So Kaitlin is therefore an excellent person to open today's research symposium, and it is my great pleasure So I yield the floor to her.
Thank you, Scott, for thoroughly embarrassing me before I give this speech. And thank you all so much for having me here today. It is an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you at this first virtual STEM symposium. And a huge congratulations is in order. Wake Tech's Innovation of the Year for 2021 is an incredible accomplishment and so well deserved. I love coming to this and just seeing how far the program has come since I was a part of it and what it's capable of doing. And I can't wait to hear some of the research that you all have been doing a little later. So as Scott said, I am currently a graduate student at ECU studying to get my master in public health and epidemiology and a master of social work in social work. And I can honestly say that I don't think I would be here at ECU involved in all of the research that I've been able to be a part of and pursuing 2 master's degrees if it wasn't for my time in the START program and the people that I met there, plus the thousands of letters of recommendation that Scott has been kind enough to write for me. But to give you a picture of how really crazy it is that I'm here, we have to start back to what Scott alluded to, my communications degree from Carolina. So the year is 2009. And I have just finished my first and last science course of my college career. First, because you had to take at least 1 science class to get any degree at Carolina. Last, because there was absolutely no way I was going to subject myself to another one of those courses again. Chemistry 101 did me in. After that class ended, I marched straight to my advisor's office to ask for a list of all of the majors that I could pursue that did not require more than that 1 science course. 4 years later, graduated with my interpersonal communications degree and a minor in social and economic justice, having fulfilled my mission of not taking a single additional science course in that 4-year stint. And upon graduation, my parents will tell you, I said, I'm done with school. I'm absolutely never returning again. I've done my time. I've been here for the past 18 years, and that is quite enough. Thank you very much. The fact that I'm here at a STEM symposium pursuing advanced degrees and talking to you all should tell you how successful I was in both of those things. So in spring of 2016, I did take Scott's class, where despite my performance on the blood vessel quiz, shout out to anyone who has survived A&P 2, he invited me to participate in undergrad research over the summer. Like he said, I was more than a little hesitant, but I had a huge adventure in front of me for the summer, biking across Europe, and I had grown a little bit since leaving college, so I agreed to give it a go when I came back in the fall. And that's when my life changed pretty drastically. First of all, the photos on my cell phone went from the smiling faces of my family and friends to bacteria, tiny tubes in a specific order, PCR results and failures, mostly failures, but some results, and more bacteria. In microbiology, they tell you how quickly bacteria can grow, multiplying exponentially overnight, but they don't really make a point to warn you of how fast it can take over your entire camera roll when you're involved in research. Second, I found myself spending a lot of time walking around Wake Tech North Campus with urine sample cups dripping fresh with water that I had recently collected. I just had to accept the weird looks that I got because I knew that I had just come from the Satanic Pond and collected the water there. And obviously that had the answers to our research questions, but the other students at Wake Tech maybe didn't know that. A quick side note, Scott always regretted the day he allowed me to choose what we called our aquatic locations around campus because he was forced to say things to me like, Kaitlin, do you have that sample from Dirty Construction Pond behind Parking Deck 2? Or Kaitlin, do you have the results from the Satanic Pond? So finally, I realized that while I thought I had left my adventures behind on that European bike trip, I came to realize that research at its core is an adventure. Go with me on this one because it doesn't always feel that way when you're doing a PCR for the 147th time or making your 581st auger plate to put bacteria on. But adventure and science at the core are a bunch of failures, setbacks, questions, and slow forward momentum towards some yet unachieved goal. And sometimes on the way, you have to detour or take a side quest or even turn around and start again. if you don't believe me, just quickly think about some great adventures. This is going to be a little nerdy. The Harry Potter series would be like 5 pages long if Harry just defeated Voldemort when he was a baby. Lord of the Rings would have gone nowhere if Frodo had just been able to casually stroll into Mordor with the ring and just chuck it. And even the bike trip that I went on wouldn't have been an adventure if we had just flown straight to Romania and met the kids in the camp we were trying to raise awareness for, instead of biking across the continent for the entire summer. The point is, while the destination is pretty great, it's the small steps, struggles, and failures you take in between that really make this experience what it is. Sometimes you can't even see the end goal. You just have to focus on taking the next right step. The research that I did in the START program was supposed to test water for antibiotic resistance conferred by a specific gene. But in order to get anywhere close to that, I prepared and destroyed like 300 PCR gels. Some got contaminated, some like kind of blew up in a laboratory safe way, and some just didn't turn out at all. We plated thousands of beautiful purple bacteria on all different kinds of augers, and they were nice to look at, but it was incredibly tedious. I continually took it upon myself to mispronounce Chelex, much to Scott's chagrin, and I actively avoided trying to perform the more intensive of our water cleaning rituals. He did not let me get away with that. And even once we found success in this project, Scott told me that actually wasn't supposed to happen because antibiotic resistance in the water is not a good thing. And while I silently mourned for humankind, outwardly, I did a lot of cheering because even if it's bad for humanity, you sometimes have to take the victories where you can get them. We did all the right work and called the state. The state wasn't too worried about what we found, but like maybe just don't drink the water in the ponds at Wake Tech North. I can definitively say that the most important lessons that I learned from START were 1, how essential failing is to the research process, and 2, how important it is to have mentors that refuse to give up on you and refuse to let you give up on your project, even when you're tired of failing. The pieces of the journey that feel like failure and feel like a burden are actually the parts of the story that move us forward. In every book where he battles Voldemort, Harry learns more, gets better, and increases his chances for survival in the final novel. As the hobbits travel around Middle-earth, they meet comrades and friends that allow them to go where they need to go. On that 148th PCR, we finally discover results that are worth writing a paper about. Those purple bacteria plates that we did endlessly allowed us to create pure cultures to study the type of bacteria that we had growing. The Kelex, well, that's a battle I didn't win, but sometimes you have to take the loss to keep moving forward. I want to leave you with a thought from the most influential paper I got during my time at START. It was not one of the many papers Scott sent to me about carbapenems and antibiotic resistance, though those were great. This was one he sent me while I was despairing about ever discovering anything in our research or ever being any good at science. Appropriately titled The Importance of Stupidity in Scientific Research by Martin Schwartz, this paper became the cover of my binder to remind me that science is hard, but that's a good thing. I definitely recommend reading the whole paper, but the piece I want to leave you with is this. I don't think students are made to understand how hard it is to do research and how very, very hard it is to do important research. What makes it difficult is that research is immersion in the unknown. We don't know what we're doing. We can't be sure whether we're asking the right question or doing the right experiment until we get an answer or result. Science involves confronting our absolute stupidity, the kind of stupidity that is inherent in trying to learn what is unknown. Focusing on important questions puts us in an awkward position of being ignorant. One of the beautiful things about science is that it allows us to bumble along, getting it wrong time after time, and feel perfectly fine as long as we learn something each time. We must transition in science from learning what other people once discovered to making our own discoveries. And that's what you all are doing here. That's what I did in my time in START. Made our own discoveries, chose our own adventures, and to top it all off, we were lucky enough to have some of the brightest minds I have ever met helping us along the way in our research. START has taught me that things will often not go the way they are planned, and even if they do, they may bring more questions than answers. Research questions will shift, adjust, change, fail outright, and annoy you for hours on end just because they can. Research is messy, research requires patience, research is a team sport. But so is life. And these failures all line up to pave the way for your success as long as you just keep taking that next step forward. START showed me I can be great because I know how to fail and keep moving forward, and left me with the courage to tackle life head on because I know how to start over and retry and adapt. Not to mention the incredible mentorship and knowledge I gained just by working with one Brian Scott Nunez and the incredible PIs that were always in the lab and I got to know during my time at Wake Tech. And if any day feels particularly tough, I just remember that the mRNA vaccines that are coming out as the MVP of the COVID-19 pandemic took 30 years, demotions, lack of funding, and a steep uphill climb to ever get developed. I get impatient when my bacteria doesn't grow in a single night. Can you imagine if these scientists had given up in year 5 or year 18 or even year 27? The only reason they're the hero of the pandemic now is because they handled the work, the failure, the doubt, the courage, and the resolve to see their research through, even as they had to adjust their course along the way. I am so excited to be here with you all today as you explain the adventures of research that you've been experiencing, trials and tribulations included. And I think the START program is incredibly and aptly named because this is truly just the beginning. I can't wait to see where it will take you. It certainly continues to be a wild ride for me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kaitlin. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing your story. So now we're going to get ready to hear from all of our START students. But before we do, again, I want to thank our sponsors. So we have Brooks Pierce, we have Bank of America, we have the Chrisman Foundation or the Chrisman Company. They've been able to support our START students this year. In the chat here, among all the other things, you will actually see a link to our online program. So our concurrent sessions are actually set up in 2 different groups, Group 1 and Group 2. Each session has A through F, and so in that online program, you will be able to pick what student you want to listen to or pick what topic you want to. The first session, again, will go from 2:25 to 2:55. We'll take a 5-minute break to let you switch. We'll have a second set of concurrent sessions, and then we'll all meet back here to hear about STEM stories as well. This room will stay open in case you have any questions or kind of get lost in the program. Come back here and Karen Gibbons or myself will be able to direct you. Go forth and listen to the START students as they talk about their research. And Kaitlin, again, thank you so much.